distributed. As a reminder, it's distributed for a reason, meaning everybody has just time challenges and time warp challenges. I mean, I still can't believe it's been almost 2 years since we got hit with a crisis of a lifetime or of a century. But this will be recorded. I'm also featuring Linda in the next ship blog. And so that'll be going out. And we're super excited to have Linda join us today to represent Unreal Features, which is a division of Epic Games that Linda is overseeing. I wanted to just pull one thing up about Linda, just to give her an introduction. So Linda, she's going to share her own journey, but Linda is one of the creators of an Unreal Fellowship, which is a 30-day intensive program to learn an Unreal Engine. So that's something we'll talk to her about as well. So welcome, Linda. We're really glad to have you. And after I talked to you further, I was like, oh my gosh, you're like one of those famous people that's been doing this before anybody knew what this was. So I would love to have you introduce yourself, kind of your role, and then tell us about your own journey to where you are now, because obviously we talk constantly about the future of work and learning not being a pathway in one industry, but kind of what sparks your interest and how you get where you get. So would love to welcome you and kick this off with your own journey.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I want to make sure I don't have any echoing. Sounds good. Anyway, I'm Linda Selheim, and I'm the education lead at Epic Games. So I manage, we're a relatively small team at Epic, and we cover what I like to call cradle to careers. So we work with secondary schools, we work with higher education, and we work with career changers that are, learning new things. And I'll talk a little bit about my journey because I'm the ultimate career changer who entered technology later. I have a degree in illustration, visual arts, and worked for years in that industry back before things were really digital. And then I've kind of spent a lot of my time going between the physical and the digital spaces. I worked for a large toy company designing toys. And then I sort of segued into my own business and did a very high-end fashion line for about 10 years with reps and major department stores, and a lot of learning. We did a lot of stuff with embellishment and exploring dyeing and playing with textiles. So I've always had a love for going, in and out of the 2D and 3D space, the real 2D and 3D. And then when the digital tools came around, in the 80s with Adobe, it was just a game changer to start to learn these and apply them to the work that we were all doing at the time. And then slowly the video game business sort of, came up. And initially the graphics weren't very exciting. If you've read any of the books on the history of the business, it's interesting because the illustrations on the boxes sold the games because the artwork in the games was still developing. And in the mid-90s, that started to change, and I fell in love with 3D. So my first reaction when I started learning about games and the tools that they used was, why aren't people using these game engines for other things? I was just fascinated. It seemed like a great tool for visualizing and solving problems. And this was in the late 90s, and I decided to go back to school and do an MFA. And I did all my research in experimental game engines and taught. So I spent about 7 years in education and just fascinated with these tools and what students were learning and how the careers they were going into. Even back in 2005, I would see my students graduate with a game degree, but yet some of them were going into work for, companies that were doing work visualizing exhibition sets and, working with big conferences. And even then you were starting to see architecture and real estate sort of play with these tools. So it's the pathway to interactive 3D is just fascinating. And then I worked at Autodesk for about 5 years, helping students learn those tools. I ran secondary education and have been in this space, this technology and learning space. I went from there to um, lynda.com, which became LinkedIn Learning, where I managed all the tools around 3D and CAD, all that learning. My team created all the courses that you find on lynda.com or LinkedIn Learning now about this subject. So I've witnessed this for a good 15 years, and what we're going to talk about more today is the careers involving interactive 3D in real time are just booming. And I always, when I talk to students, and it's like 20 years ago, we all didn't imagine this world where mobile would drive so much of what we did. And when we talk about these real time and interactive 3D tools, they're going to be part of everything. We live in an immersive world now. We expect things to turn around. We expect to be able to, if we're shopping for a pair of shoes, to see it from every dimension. And everything is being affected by these skills. So if you look at our verticals, things like simulation, architecture, but it's not just architecture, it's architecture, engineering, and construction. It's even in the construction business. So people need to visualize what they're doing. I mean, you think about what they call previs in film. There's something very similar in construction and previs of construction sites. How do we know that crane, won't fall over and do this? Or how will it affect how the flow on the construction site goes? So it's endless. We're seeing it automotive, aerospace. I'll give you a little sneak that the project we're going to talk about, Unreal Futures, is part of a whole group of projects we plan to do. And one of the areas we're looking at is fashion. So real-time technology in 3D and fashion is just fascinating. So last year, Jemai has a slide up here. We commissioned Burning Glass to work with us on a report to look at 3D graphics and real-time skills. So you'll see the terms 3D graphics and real-time, and then interactive 3D. We use real-time and interactive 3D kind of interchangeably, but when we use interactive 3D a lot when we're talking to educators because it covers such a broad area. But in the report, you can see the numbers here. I mean, people that have these skills, there are so many jobs out there. It's a new and emerging area, and we've been doing a lot of research. There's another report that we did, and I think the link is in here, the Creators Field Guide, where we look at a handful of these emerging careers and sort of the skills you need in real time using Unreal to move into them, because we really want students to understand and know that these are the opportunities. I mean, we're educating universities and community colleges, and we're really trying to get people up to speed, in the faculty and educators, to understand these opportunities so they incorporate it into their programs. And the exciting thing about working in the secondary space is the students catch on to these tools so quickly, and it amazes me because what they'll do with them in 5 to 10 years, they'll amaze us with where they take these things.
I mean, I'm just amazed. And, I think most of the closer community knows, Linda, that I'm not a technologically savvy person. But I mean, when I started reading the report, I posted the Burning Glass report for everybody. I mean, I just want to ask you, I'd like to show the video real quick, but I want to ask you, we all know, and no offense, Kevin Drum and other educators that might be on the call, higher ed and public ed, it moves really slowly. So how in the world, besides, the exciting competition and awareness, how are you guys approaching reaching secondary, both, like, I guess my question on higher ed is, what school are you going to? Is it architecture? Is it all the schools? How are you thinking about that?
Well, we're seeing adoption. I mean, obviously there's been game programs around for about the last 10, 15 years. They started to come in, and we're pretty well saturated in those programs. And
Okay.
they have to use game engines. They're making games. Architecture has been around longer, and we've worked with a lot of the big architecture schools. I think what's exciting is seeing this expand into more of the vocational and technical schools to use the tools. We're a small team. We don't really train. We like to think that we get people excited, we get them interested, we show them the opportunities to use the tools and how to build it into their curriculum, because no one has a class called real-time 3D. Well, maybe a few people do. But I'll give you an example. One of the high school teachers that I work with really closely, and he's very innovative, and he teaches at a STEM school, and he teaches history. So he uses the Unreal Engine to have his students create a history museum. They pick a topic, and it's a great project. It's a really easy entryway into a professional tool. And they build a 3D museum that you can interact with and walk through. And they tell the story of whatever women's history was one semester he did. He'll pick different subjects. And then the students work as a docent and bring people through the space. We have another teacher that's using Fortnite Creative to teach geography and economics in middle school. So the opportunities are endless to get students engaged and actually using the tools. The students will drive it once you kind of figure out how to bring it in. And I always tell teachers, you want to facilitate. You don't need to become an expert with this. I'll use an example. Pretty much everybody uses Photoshop anymore, but who uses all of Photoshop? It's a gigantic tool. You use it for what you need to. And with the Unreal Engine, I feel the same way. It's like there's a pathway for everyone to come in, and there's an easy entryway. And why I'm so excited about the Unreal Futures project is that that's what we created here. We wanted to create an easy on-ramp. So you understand the industry, then there's videos with career interviews, and it's so well done. We partnered with Media Monks, which is an advertising company that's exploring new ways of doing things, and we'll show the video in a minute. But we really wanted to create an easy on-ramp for teachers and students to explore this tool and do a small project. So a real slice of life project, not a made-up project.
And what I like, we'll go to the video next, Tiff, but what I like is that it can be done in the classroom, formal curriculum, or a student can just go on their own. Learner,
absolutely,
can go on there.
We designed this, I called it kind of a kit when we started out, but we were trying to think of something that we could do not only in school, but let's say we visited a Boys and Girls Club and wanted to do something with them that could be done in a few hours or stretched and done over a period of a week. It's pretty easy learning, and the videos are really great. So I don't know if you want to show the teaser now?
Yeah, here you go.
We can talk a little more about it.
There's never been a more exciting or empowering time to be a creator. That's because a technology called interactive 3D is changing the way we live and work.
When you're creating things on this platform, you're creating it for all the platforms.
Interactive 3D simulates the real world in a meaningful way. The result isn't a simple image or video. It's a three-dimensional world you can explore and change. In the past, it may have taken hours, if not days, for a final image to render. But with real-time 3D tools like Unreal Engine, the process is almost instantaneous.
In this project, we will explore how Unreal is being used in the advertising industry.
In the rest of this series, we'll explore step-by-step how Media Monks achieved this finished product. And you can follow along as we work through a similar shot together. No prior experience is necessary. We'll provide you with all the files you need. So, let's go.
Awesome.
So what's so fun about this project is, real-time 3D is new to the advertising industry, and Media Monks was one of our mega grant partners, and they wanted to explore using real-time TV and television commercials, with products, because that's one of their streams of work. And their partner in this was Oreos. So the students actually create a shot in the tutorials that are part of the, connected to the competition we're doing here, to create a real shot that was done in the Oreos commercial.
That's just incredible. And I think you said something about there's how many flavors of Oreos?
So I bet everybody didn't know there's 88 flavors of Oreos. And I learned that one of the flavors is Swedish fish. There's actually a, the hot sauce everybody loves. There's a hot sauce Oreo. But anyway, if you look at traditional product shots and TV commercials, so let's say they're going to do a commercial with a package of Oreos, which you'll see in the thing, and they bring in the Swedish fish Oreo, and then they shoot, and then they take that package out, and then they bring in the next package, which might be the mint Oreo. I can't even remember hardly any of the flavors, but so now this can all be done in 3D. And I always tell people, well, you know, most of the cars you see in TV commercials anymore are 3D. They're not real cars. If you ever saw how they used to shoot car commercials, you'll understand how they can control the reflections and things. So, you know, lots and lots is changing because of our ability to create these objects, these 3D objects, and then interact with them. And when we talk about real time, we're talking about real time rendering. So you can actually see what you're doing, make changes, and then render, and it's quick. Where if you know about film, like it can take 24 hours to render a couple of seconds of film. So they talk about render farms. So this is all being done real time. You can make your changes. I bet a lot of people here have seen The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian was all filmed using virtual productions. So if you read any of the articles about it, you'll get sort of a feel for how it's really changing the entertainment industry also.
That's incredible. So let's go to the first, maybe, let's go to what this competition's gonna do. And then we can kind of show another video of a final production. So let me just tell the audience that, the Close-Up Summit is super, super excited to be able to do this competition with our partners. You'll hear from our partners in a few minutes from Tallow and NASEP. But Linda, why don't you talk about the competition and kind of what we're trying to accomplish with this?
Yeah, so the way the content's laid out in the course, which will be released soon, and everyone will have access to all this content, but it's about 6-8 videos that students will work through, and then you get your big picture view of the industry. You hear about the careers and stuff, and then here's your job. Okay, you're going to learn this, and you're going to create this shot. So after you've learned this, now you have these new skills, and that's the competition. What we'd like students to do is to create a public service announcement, an ad for Earth Day. The timing's great. Earth Day's in this, end of April, and it's something that a lot of students do in school, or people are involved with community projects on their own. So it's really great, and you'll have these new skills you can apply and create something really fun. I want to talk a little bit about what we call assets, or 3D assets. Students can create their own, but you can also, we have free assets in our marketplace. So everything, you can really get everything you need on unrealengine.com. So that'll be great for students. A lot of students will have 3D skills, but the great thing about an engine, it's like props. You can download them from other places and bring them in, and they can tell their story. So do you want to talk?
Yeah, I also want to just say, talk about the badge. Like, what are you guys trying to do with the badge? Because I like that they get a badge and they can post that,
Yes.
especially,
Yeah, well, the badge is basically a symbol of the skills that you acquired, and we're working on a broader skills platform. So your badges add up. You can do this course and get a badge. We have some other courses for teachers. We have a course on teaching with Fortnite, and we have a new one that'll be coming soon on teaching with Unreal, because we look at the sort of teaching with as different than just using.
that's cool.
So We have badges. All of our courses on our online learning have badges, so students can build their skills in this area.
That's very cool. Yeah, and can they, is there a link that they can post that on LinkedIn since you work there? Can they post that badge on LinkedIn or copy the badge or do something like that?
I believe they can. I don't think it's automatic, but I think you can download it and then post it on your profile. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, Tiff, let's show what the final, so just to review this, there's 2 age brackets. We'll have this all on the flyer. Prize categories for each age bracket. We announced it today. We're launching the 12th. We're going to get the word out amongst our partner organizations, and any of you that can help share that word, please do. We'll have something. Somebody asked over 18 to 25. It's only to 25. Sorry, we're just doing youth and young adults. So there's 13 to 18, and then there's 18 over 18. So if you're 18 in one day, you fall in over 18 to 25. 25 is the top, because we really wanted this to be for youth and young adults. So I hope that answers that question. Submissions are due on the April 12th. If anybody knows Greta better than I do, she was a third contact on LinkedIn with me. I emailed Greta to see if she would be a judge. If anybody else knows her, Greta Thunberg, but Gerald can, maybe touch on who's going to be judging, but we've got a really esteemed panel of judges lining up, and then we'll announce the winners on Earth Day. So Tiff, why don't you run one of the sample PSAs just so people can get an idea of what that looks like. And that's just one example. I mean, there were 3 or 4, and we pulled one that wouldn't be quite as long, but I can't wait to see what these students do.
Yeah, that's a professional piece and really, extravagant, but I love to see what students do when they bring their own personality and view of the world to it. And I think we'll see some really great stuff.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so let me think if there's anything else I want to ask you. Can you tell us, so they're doing the advertising module. You mentioned that there's going to be a fashion module, which is super cool. What other modules are going to be coming out from an industry perspective?
Well, we hope to look at virtual production and really the way the film business is being changed. So again, that's a little bit on the movie side. And then aerospace, simulation, automotive, and architecture, engineering, and construction. So those would be the ones we hope to do this year. And I noticed somebody asked about applying these to career exploration. That was the goal from the beginning, to really show how this stuff is directly related to careers and why it's important, and make it, fun to do and interesting to learn about this. Because as I said earlier, we find that even in colleges and stuff, people are just learning about what these skills are and applying them to their programs.
Yeah, I really like a couple of things. First, I wanted to recognize Amy. Cordell, with CompTIA, because I know CompTIA is part of your hub. And I'm thinking about all the certification training they do. And I'm hoping, you know, Amy, maybe this is, you know, rallying your brain a little bit on ways to work on some this type of technical skills. Then Dr. Boudreau, my HR CLO friend, might there be applications here in training, learning, and corporations? Do you work with CLOs, Chief Learning Officers? So what are you guys thinking about that, Linda?
You lost me for a minute there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Dr. John Boudreau has been, you know, he has been working with HR and Chief Learning Officer for many years, big companies, and he's saying, you know, might there be applications here for training and learning within corporations? And like that?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the same stuff that we're doing, these industries are so new and emerging that we're finding that I always tell people, and I taught tech for, you know, a long time. And, you know, when someone's learning a new tool, they're learning a new tool. It often doesn't matter if they're 15 or 50. And we're finding that a lot of this really applies across the board. That's why we talk about being in our education team from cradle to career, because, you know, we really feel that a lot of the content we do applies across. Yes. I can talk for a sec about the fellowship if you're interested, because you mentioned it earlier, because that really addresses when COVID hit. A lot of the film industry, everybody stopped shooting, you know, things were closed down all over the world, and people were unemployed, and we wanted to look at a way that we could help them. We had our mega grant program, but we really wanted to think about what's a broader thing we could do. So we basically built a school in 6 weeks using our learning management systems, Slack, Discord, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and put together a highly curated program that we take 100 people through a month-long study to learn virtual production. We started this with people that are in the industry. So to get accepted into the program, you need to have some industry experience, because we move pretty quickly, but it's a full-time 40-hour-a-week plus homework, and they produce a short film at the end of it. And it pays a small stipend to keep people involved. And we've built an incredible sense of community out of this. We've run a few hundred people through it, and we hope to expand this idea. It's been great during COVID times.
No kidding. That's incredible. Well, they just named Albuquerque in Santa Fe, I forget, 2 of the top movie production areas. So, you know, we've got some cool stuff happening here. So Art Martinez, we'll have to think about the workforce board and how we can go to Netflix and some of those companies and get some of this happening. That's exciting. Okay, so I want to just turn and introduce some partners, and then we're going to open it up for questions for Linda. So we're super excited to be hosting this competition, helping the competition. We are going to get at least 500 applicants to join this competition. That's what we are working towards. And as I said, we're moving quickly because it just kind of came out of the gate just to the beginning of the year. So I want to introduce someone that I'm really honored to work with, and that's Casey Welch, the co-founder and CEO of Talos. So Casey, why don't you kind of talk about what Talos' role is going to be with this competition and a little bit about Talos?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, at first, it's really an honor to be part of this group. At Talo, we really started out 8 years ago under a mission and belief that everyone had a skill and interest and ability that somebody else was looking for. What was really missing was the connection. And that's why we made it. We really wanted to give the next generation of talent the ability to overcome a lot of those traditional boundaries and connect with opportunities anytime, anywhere, that all align to their skills and abilities. And, just listening to Linda talk, and we're talking a lot about these skills and the skills of the future. And so often we see, right, and we all know it, you think about the future talent pipeline, which starts earlier, is they don't know what they don't know. And so bringing this opportunity to them is really going to be incredible. So really fast forward 8 years, and we decided to create a platform that could provide that future talent that ability to showcase all their work, showcase their skills that they've achieved in one place, in an end-to-end platform, with the goal of connecting with career opportunities, post-secondary opportunities that really align with their interests, their abilities, their skills, not just a regular opportunity. And so we fast forward that now, we're excited to bring this opportunity to, over the nearly 1.5 million students and young professionals using Tallo today. I'm also really excited when you look at that, is us bringing this opportunity to that population that's 40% ethnically and racially diverse. They come from 27,000 high schools across the country. They're in 4,000 colleges. And now they're going to get a chance to learn and see truly what the future of work in this completely new industry is going to look like. And I think lastly, part in this partnership, and I know, Gerald's going to get a chance to talk in a moment, but I feel like it's really unique that you get to work with 4 organizations that are so skills and future focused, based, and really pioneered their space, right? Jamae, you look at the work you've done at Close It and Innovate Educate, really pioneering the skills-based hiring and learning side of it, right? You have Gerald, who's about to speak about how NASEF and the work that they've done, about the incredible work about extracting skills and competencies from competitive sports. So it's not just athletes. It's more importantly, what are the skills they're acquiring that are foundational, that align to these careers of the future? It's extremely exciting. And then, following up, Linda, what you just shared with Epic and Unreal Engine, bringing the most powerful interactive real-time 3D creation platform in the world to students in rural and urban, in different environments with different interests, is really going to be incredible. So Tallo's role in this, it's a free platform to help showcase students. They're going to have a chance to come on to Tallo, register, learn about the opportunity, post it there, connect it, take that badge, showcase it there, and connect with, those employers that are hiring down the road, and colleges that have those programs, and really helping people to set up the journey. So really being part of the future of work and bringing it to the future talent pipeline, that's what Tallo is going to do. Excited to have the opportunity to be part of this unique and really game-changing opportunity.
Game changing, love it. That's awesome, Casey. Thank you. I'm so excited to have the Dallas students learn about this, all your learners, and bring more learners to the platform. Gerald, my friend Gerald Solomon, super excited that you and I get to work on this together. So why don't you talk a little bit about your role?
Great, thanks, Jamae. And it's a real privilege and honor to have and be associated with such quality individuals and entities. Casey, you said it well. It's really the alignment of people who are truly engaged in how do you think about the future of workforce opportunities. Our work at NASEF began when I was running the Samueli Foundation for 13 years. And we were looking at ways to really address the needs of the disenfranchised, the disengaged, students of color, girls in particular, around the skills they need for futures of workforce. And through that, we stumbled onto something called esports. And what we've done over the last several years is create pathways not to play games, but to use gaming and gaming opportunities in esports to develop the skills that students need in order to thrive and grow in today and tomorrow's workforce. And our relationship with Tallo and Epic and Innovate Educate is really longstanding in a lot of different ways. And this is an opportunity to use the concept of competition or play to get students interested in and exposed to what Unreal Engine, Unreal Ventures is really all about, so that it can open doors and opportunities to be able to explore ways in which students, again, through gaming, through play, through competition, et cetera, can have fun and learn at the same time. The benefit of what we're doing is we have that competition platform, that opportunity. We have the rules and regs around the kind of traditional sport games of, Rocket League and other types of activities, Fortnite, et cetera. And we're just transferring it into this kind of opportunity for kids to learn the skills that Linda and Epic talk about through Unreal Engine. We've been fortunate enough through our relationships to find judges who are really leaders in the field, as Jemay alluded to. We have the executive producer of the Lego movie. We have the person in charge of global marketing for Qualcomm. We have the marketing director for Immortals, one of the leading esports professional teams in the world, who are all going to serve as judges to be able to help kids think about and look at how they can use the skills derived and developed through Unreal, and then be able to use it in ways to develop pathways for themselves in learning. So it's a great opportunity to be able to expose tens of thousands of kids to these opportunities of future development and growth. And we at NASEF are really looking forward to working to be able to really make a difference. Thank you, Jemay.
Yeah, thank you. Linda, any closing comments before we go to some questions, if there are any?
Well, we covered it pretty well. I'm excited to see, what questions people have. But again, I wanted that we really created this content to get people on board with the engine. And I hate to use the word simple, but so often with technology, things get too deep, too fast, students get bored. And we really created this with that on-ramp and pathway. And we hope that students will push it much further and enjoy some of our other learning content beyond it and explore on their own, which we all know they're so good at, thank goodness for YouTube. But we really, I'm hoping that the entries will just blow us away.
Yeah, I hope so too. I really do. Questions. I know we kind of put those in, like when John asked about the chief learning officers. Questions. Does anybody want to put something in the chat? Questions about anything they're thinking about? We did kind of run those while we were.
You missed a question from John earlier. He asked if there was a green chili flavor of Oreos.
Oh.
I know there's a chili flavor, and that's what I was thinking earlier. There's a sriracha flavor.
And I posted these resources and participate for anyone who's interested in these as well.
Well, I won't say the next face-to-face event we hold, we're going to order every one of those brands. Yes. And we'll have a tasting contest, because I am shocked that there's that many Oreo brands.
It would be fun to taste all of them.
Let's see, one new message. You saw a Lady Gaga flavor? That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know about you all, but I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm going to go to Unreal Engine and do the course myself, because I think it's just really cool to think about, what I can learn doing that. So I encourage everybody. Tim, great question. Can they do Unreal Engine on a Chromebook or iPad? When those emails have been flying between Google and your team, can you talk about what we're trying to do on that?
Yeah, we're hoping to offer a remote desktop virtual machine solution that's still being worked out. I will talk about a program we have at Epic with Parsec, that if you're doing this with a class, so if you're a teacher and you have a lab, but you can't access it now, we can do something where we virtualize the lab. At the moment, that's the solution that we have at Epic. But Jemaya's been talking to people at Google, and we're looking at a way that we can offer virtual machines in more of a one-off way. Chromebook's a little slow, and of course it doesn't run on an iPad. It will run on a Mac, but not on an iPad.
Got it. That's good. Gerald is leading the rules and registrations with Linda's team. Then just for final information on this, people will go register on Tallow. then they'll be driven over to the Unreal Futures, where they'll actually go through that. When they finish that, they will go back and load their badge. There's some proof of learnings, you know, nothing huge for that learner. I asked Linda how long it would take, and I think we kind of talked about it. If it was just a learner sitting down to do this, Linda, do you have an estimate of what it would take hour-wise?
For the student to go through all the materials, I'd say, you know, an hour and a half or so to watch all the videos and read through things, and then to do the project, to go through the tutorials, maybe another hour or more. And then, you know, it's creativity at that point.
Right.
It's sitting down and thinking through. I would encourage students to sketch and storyboard, and, you know, if they're fun, to work in a team or with a couple of friends and come up with an idea and then figure out how they can do it.
Yeah. So I mean, in my head, I'm thinking this would take weeks. So I wanted to ask that question so people understand this is really an exciting opportunity, even for a full-time student in college or high school, to sit down and do this over a weekend or whatever. Any other questions? It looks like I don't see any. We did put up all these resources. We will be posting all of this. I love that there's secondary lesson plans here for people that are working with the classroom, and a video for teachers, etc. So I'm just thrilled. And Linda, it was so great to have you, you know, speak to us today and learn more about your own journey. I do want to know, did you develop a toy that was special to you? Any toy that was really cool, or what was your favorite toy that you worked on?
That was quite a long time ago, but I did work on a line of warrior women dolls very early on, and we kind of competed with Masters of the Universe, but they do still have their own Facebook group. Girls loved these toys. It was called Golden Girls and the Guardians of the Gemstone.
Love it. So fun. It's really fun to reflect on the crazy journeys that we've had.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. We really are glad to have you. Thanks for your interaction. As a reminder, there is a town hall tonight, and I have no idea how many youth and young adults are going to join, but it'll be a great conversation on their opinion of higher education, specifically higher education reform, what's happening on the Hill, both state policy and federal policy around the cost and affordability of higher education. So I'm looking forward to being part of that town hall tonight. I'll just be attending because it's being run by Young Invincibles and Association of Young Americans, both organizations out of DC. And that's hub number probably 10. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Linda.
Bye.
Bye.